Welcome back to Breslov campus. Rebbe Nachman's insight in fixing a place to daven. Before we explain it, the halacha requires, Torah law requires, that you have a fixed place where you pray. This applies even if you're at times you are unable to go and daven in a shul with a minyan, and you have no choice but to daven at home. So even when you daven at home, you shouldn't one day daven in the living room, one day in the bedroom, one day in the library. You should have a place where you always daven when this happens and you're anust and you're unable to daven in a shul, to daven in a fixed place. The halacha says this also applies to choosing a shul. You shouldn't have the tendency of being a person who jumps around one day in this shul, one day in that shul. You should have a synagogue, a davening place that you're fixed in davening at. And more than this, even in the shul, the synagogue, the Beit Midrash, wherever you daven, that you're fixed in davening, you shouldn't daven one day in the right corner of the room, the left corner of the room, the front, the back, the middle. Even then, you should have a fixed place where you daven. In halacha, for example, if somebody's standing davening the Shmones or the Amida prayer in the place where you normally daven, standing within Dalet Amot, proximity of about 4 cubits from where you normally daven, is also considered being in the place where you daven. But a person should see to it to try to have a fixed place to daven. The wording of the Gemara is in Brachot, Kol hakovea makom litfilato Elokei Avraham be'ezro. Anybody who fixes a place for their davening, the God of Avraham comes to his help. So Rebbe Nachman explains amazing depth on this Gemara, and he says like this, that when you daven, your words are coming out and being etched on the airwaves and on the air particles, the air space where you're standing and praying. And this accumulates. What you prayed 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago in this spot, when you had a good davening, it stays in the air, so that next time you daven and you breathe in this air that has attached to it the good words of prayers, and now you're saying newer words, fresh words of prayer, so it accumulates and helps you in your davening. And Rebbe Nachman teaches that the God of Avraham comes to a person's assistance. What does Avraham represent? The Zohar teaches that it's Avraham who's the one who was able to reveal the greatness and holiness of the Holy Land. Until Avraham Avinu's time, it was unknown, it was covered up. The light and the value of Eretz Yisrael, no one knew about it. Even though there were unique individuals from Adam all the way down to Avraham who knew Torah, like Noach did, Adam did, Shem, Ever, still the greatness of the Holy Land was uncommon and unknown to even these people. It was like the Zohar says that Avraham Avinu worked very hard to inquire and find out and discover and reveal the greatness of the Holy Land. And what is the greatness of the Holy Land? It has a different quality of air. It says, like the Gemara says, Avira de Eretz Yisrael machkin. The air of the Holy Land makes a person wise. And in our context, when a person davens, with high quality air particles, part of his davening, it connects him to the sanctity of the Holy Land, where divine providence is at the maximum. Meaning, you're able to daven properly and to see the results of davening. Like Rebbe Nachman teaches in the same lesson, 44, that with davening properly and with the level of Eretz Yisrael, Holy Land air, you're able to have revealed to you the secrets of the Torah. So this Rebbe Nachman teaches is the God of Avraham comes to your assistance because you're fixing your place to daven, meaning you are concerned about the quality of the air you're using to daven. That's why you keep on coming back to daven in the same spot. So this enables that your prayers are answered. Prayers being answered and prayers being said properly is at the level of the Holy Land. We call that Holy Land davening, where you feel the presence of God face to face, and it shows itself in your concentration in the davening. And this is why it is so important to have a fixed place in davening, because it's accumulative. All the times you daven there, even though you struggled for 10, 15 years, whatever it is, to let's say some type of a good word, eventually the good words of davening are attached on the vibes of the airwaves around you, and when you breathe them in, they have a part of your davening. That's why it's so important to be fixed in davening, and by that, a person really, really advances in his spirituality and also in the quality of his prayers. And all this is connected to the holiness of Israel, and this is why we say the God of Avraham comes to the assistance of a person when he's fixed in his davening in the right place, in the same place.